All right, Nick, let's talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. This is obviously, back to back college football playoff champions. They are the team to beat in the world of college football. And that's why all the good players want to go there, quite frankly. And they've got another great player on their books now, a huge, big time commitment, Nick. I think the Georgia fans are going to love this one.
Yeah, Miles, I think huge is the operative word here. This is an absolutely massive commitment for the Georgia Bulldogs program. But before we get into that story, look, Georgia fans, we got an interesting question for you guys to answer in the comments section below. This program, especially over the past few years, but honestly, over the decades, has had a lot of big name players, a lot of superstars. But we don't want to hear about the stars. We want to hear about the grinders, the solid players, the guys that put in the time and really built the backbone of the Georgia programs, those kind of guys. Give us your favorite hardworking Georgia Bulldog, your favorite grinder in Bulldogs history, and put them in the comment section below. All right, Miles, back to you now. What's this latest news out of Athens?
Yeah, Nick, Georgia got themselves an absolutely, you said it, massive offensive line recruit just a few days ago. They were talking about none other than Daniel Calhoun, a local boy who is from Roswell, Georgia, recently transferred to Marietta, Georgia, and out of Walton High. And let's get into the article here right now off from, of course, Hayes Fawcett on On3 Sports. He is a recruiting breaking news absolute mastermind. So go follow him if you want to hear about pretty much every breaking big recruit in the country. This says Nick, 4-star interior offensive lineman Daniel Calhoun of Roswell, Georgia. Now we said Marietta, Georgia, Walton High, announced his commitment to Georgia Wednesday afternoon. The 6'6", 355-pounder chose the Bulldogs over Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee. The Peach State offensive lineman joins Coach Kirby Smart in the Bulldogs' #1 class, that's gotta feel good, in 2024 team rankings. He is accompanied by 5-star quarterback Dylan Raiola, 5-star cornerback Ellis Robinson IV, and others. Calhoun ranks as the number 116 player in the On3 rankings, a weighted average that utilizes all 4 major recruiting companies, Nick. He also tabs in as number 7 offensive lineman for the interior slot and the number 17 player in the state of Georgia, a very competitive football state. This guy, Nick, he looked great. I think there's a lot of good to know about this guy. First, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this for Georgia, though, Nick. Tell us about what you think this means for them.
So I think this is one of the more incredible recruiting pickups I've seen this offseason. And when you consider all the factors involved in the recruiting of Calhoun, I'm going to start first at the high level. If you look at the other teams competing and vying for Calhoun's commitment, I'm going to focus on Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Texas here briefly. Of those 4 teams, Alabama so far has 0 in the 2024 class offensive tackle recruits. Auburn has 0. Tennessee has 2. Texas has 0. Georgia, prior to this, already had 3. With that in mind, you would have thought it would have been an outside chance for Georgia to get another one. It would have been very hard for Georgia to win a recruiting battle against an Alabama, and Auburn, Tennessee, or Texas when they can go out and say, listen, you're just going to be buried behind the depth chart at Georgia. Georgia found a way to pull it off anyway. That speaks to an incredible amount of recruiting talent from Kirby Smart and his team to get it done. I think that's a huge credit to their group there. That's not oversell that. That's going to be huge for them in the long term because they can do it here. They can do it in other situations as well. But here's another thing I really like. So if you go back and look at this kid's official visit history, he took his first to Athens June 2nd of this year. He went to Alabama a week later, June 9th, Auburn June 12th, Tennessee June 16th, Texas June 23rd, and then, of course, committed recently. To me, look, this is what really strikes out here to me, is that he went to Georgia first and then literally saw what all the other competition had to offer, got wined and dined to the extreme at all these great programs. And these are great recruiting programs. Obviously, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, they spare no expense in terms of rolling out the red carpet for these recruits. And despite all of these different options thrown at him, and despite potentially facing a lot of competition at the tackle position in 2024, Calhoun's like, no, I want to go there. That to me speaks to obviously the success on the field they've had a couple of years. That's a driving force, but the ability for Kirby Smart and his staff to recruit and out recruit the Nick Sabans, the Josh Heupels, the Steve Sarkisians of the world, that is going to make them a powerhouse, not just next year, not just 2024, not just 2025, but for the better part of the next decade. If you can recruit at this level, despite those challenges that I just highlighted, you're going to be a top flight national championship contending team for a very long time.
Yeah, Nick, this guy seems really special, and I love that he, like you said, he went to about as good of recruiting schools as you could have gone to. He got wined and dined with the best of them. Still came back home, still came to Georgia. He knew this is where he wanted to be. But, Nick, we went over this guy's measurables. We went over all of, he's got the massive power. He is a mountain of human being. But there's some other pedigree deep down in this guy's roots, Nick. He has two older brothers, Vincent and Chris. Vincent, an offensive lineman at Minnesota in 2016-2017, and his brother Chris was a D lineman for Wake Forest. So he's got some big time college football pedigree in his family, and he talks about learning from his brothers all the time. So I think this guy really knows what it takes to play some big time college football. I think he is ready for the task, and he's about to join Georgia, who has the best, or one of the best, if not the best, offensive line units in all of college football, especially for the last few years. They're looking to reload the depth after sending multiple guys in the NFL draft last year. I think this is going to be a really special unit and a true testament as to why Georgia has been so good the last few years, building through the trenches better than anybody else could imagine.